So how shall we get into a positive mood of learning? So how can you think of getting into a positive mood? Entertainment, very good. Okay. So we are going to catch somebody. You know who the catching is? We'll catch some laughter. I don't know how many of you know this tune. It's an old tune when I was in college. Somebody asked me how many years, you know. So I said, this is long ago in my CMC days. So I don't know whether any of you know. Anyway. Catch a little laughter, put it in your pocket, never let it fade away. Catch a little laughter, put it in your pocket, save it for a rainy day. For grief may come and tap you on the shoulder some starless night, and just in case you have to hold her, you'll have what? A pocket full of laughter. So you have a pocket full of laughter? So shall we? Right? So do you feel a little positive mood with all this laughter in your pockets? Okay, right, okay. Please sit down. So now we get into a little bit of teaching and learning. I like to call it dynamic because as she said, it's an open system, nothing rigid. So all flexible, and we'd like to put a little creative sprinkling into it. So we've just had a little bit of positive moods, and in your module, did you do your post-test and pre-test? Did you find out what your score was? This is all individual activity. Next one. Now this is just a quick revision. I saw people doing yoga. I too participated a little bit. We had a little bit of music, a little bit of laughter. And what do these things do scientifically for your whole self? These are all scientific reasons. What does it do when you keep on singing on a higher pitch? Or when you do your breathing exercise and you say, oh, what does it do? What does it do to your respiratory health? Right? 2, you know what endorphins are? Yes, they are all the good chemicals which are being produced. You do your exercise, you do your meditation, you do your laughing exercises, endorphins are being circulated. And what do these endorphins do? Yes, you feel happy about it. And if you feel happy, will you feel like learning? And IgA, what does that do? Yes, your immune mechanism. And what does your cortisol level go up or down?
Sense of well-being.
Yes, it goes down. And you know what the limbic system is involved in? Emotions. So it calms the limbic system. So this is what music, laughter and exercise does. And this is what is important for your learning and teaching. For both of us, you know, it's very important. This is just a quick revision of what she said, the 3 H's. Next. This is all, we just quickly, rapidly go. These are all some of the activities inbuilt into your module. Only I think 3 haven't gone through the modules. I'm sorry whether some problem would have happened and you didn't go through. But these are all the activities which were inbuilt into the module. And once you do these activities, you automatically learn. Nobody has to sit on your head and say there's an exam, you learn, nothing like that. And did you find out what type of a learner you are? Recently I did an online course. I'm sure you feel funny, you know, doing that. And on the online course, one of the first things that they gave is a questionnaire to find out what type of a learner you are. And you have to quickly answer it. You quickly answer it and you click and you say, all right, you are this type of a learner. So you understand, I am this type of a learner. And that Honey and Manford, are you a reflective type of learner? In bioethics, it's important. Are you a reflective type of learner? Or are you an active learner wanting to do things? So it's important that you find out what type of a learner. I'm not going into details because it's all given in your module. It's just a little revision here. Next one. Now this again is given in your module, this Cobb's learning cycle. I'd like to just pick up one aspect of that motivation. And you know that formula on motivation. You just write it down. Your performance, say after this or during this, P equals, now she was talking about all the 3 domains. What were they? Cognitive, affective and psychomotor. So put those 3, P equals, that's we call it KAP, knowledge, attitude and psychomotor. So P equals KAP multiplied by M. M is what? Motivation. And what is your motivation level for coming for this course? What percentage? Quite high. Is there anybody with a 0 motivation? If there is anybody with a 0 motivation, what will be the performance? 0. So that is why this motivation is important. Any of you seen this movie about motivation? With reference to, I've seen one movie where that was an English movie. I think it was a basketball coach. How this team, same thing in Hindi, yes? Shah Rukh Khan. How many of you have seen the movie? I haven't seen, right? Yes. So that is motivation, isn't it? So that is what motivate. And can you be trainers if your learners are not motivated, 0 level motivation? You might as well not spend any time on that type of a person unless you are able to raise their level of motivation. Right, next one. Now this is, can you learn or teach if you are not healthy? So I'd like to call it holistic health, and the literature will say holistic with H, but I'd like to put W, because W makes it a little more wholesome, a little more holistic, and your whole being. So I put it as WH. A holistic health. You know the 5 components of holistic health? What does the WHO say? Yes, physical health. How many of you are involved in some sort of physical activity? Please put your hands up. Right. Yes. Nearly everybody. And you know what my physical exercise is? Can any of you guess? Huh? What? Walking in the classroom. Yes? Swimming, right. That's absolutely right. Lata knows me. I had very bad arthritis for one of my programs. I was really in pain. So then for the past 3 years, I've been swimming quite regularly, and my arthritis has improved so much. So that is because walking on the road, I've had 2 falls, so I might as well swim. You can't fall in the water. Nothing will happen. Right. Okay, then. M is for mental health. Obviously, all of you are mentally healthy, otherwise you wouldn't come here, right? E is for emotional health. S is for social health. And S is for, yes, spiritual, again, controversial, but I'd like to put that spiritual part also. Now, these 5 concepts, and always, anything to do with numbers which are either 5 or 10, 1, 2, it's easy because you can use your fingers. So here you have your 5. Now these 5 can be blocked by what? F is for food. E is for lack of exercise. A is for addictions. It need not be alcohol, it could be TV, which is a current problem. And R is for relationship issues. And S is for stress. So these are the ones which block your health, the lifestyle diseases which contribute. And this is called FEARS, which is all given in your module. I'd like this particular picture because you can use this 10 thing. We later have something of this in your group activity. Next one. This again is just a little revision in activities which were given in your module. I am not going into the details of that. And now in groups of 2 or 3, can you quickly list out the R's in learning? It's given in your module. Without referring to that, in groups of 2 or 3, quickly write down the number of R's in learning. Fast, fast, fast. Let's see. Quick. In groups of 2 or 3. Quick, quick. Each group, how many did you get? Count, count. I said in groups. Your group, how many? 7. Your group? Next group? 13. 12. 9. 8. Anybody more than 13? Yes, I said group activity. Yes, but there shouldn't be duplication. Anybody more than 13? 13, okay. Now, in each group, will you take a minute and prioritize and say the most important are according to you? Okay, quick. According to each group, you prioritize the R, and which do you think is the most important R in learning? Okay? Your group, which do you think? Huh? Reading. Next group? Reflect. Reflect. Next group? Reflect. Next group? Reflect. Remember. Reasoning. Okay? Reinforce. Reinforce. And here Shankar wants to say it is none of these. Retaining. Okay? We'll have a small activity here, and I want, can I have a volunteer please? Yes, you come. Right, okay. You have a knee problem, is it?
No.
No. Okay, sometimes when you get fed up of learning, what do? All right, you stretch. What else? Sit down. Take a walk around. But here he is going to do something else. You know what it is? First, all of you close your eyes, and how many of you know how to do this breathing? Yes? Yes. All of you know that? You take 3 breaths like that. Close your eyes and do that. You know that, isn't it? Yes, you also do. Just do it. 3. Take a deep breath. Okay, now your pulse rate has gone down a little bit. You think so? Right. So he's become a little calm. And is that important for learning? Next, what he's going to do, you know what? He's going to boot up his internal computer. Butic. B-U-T-I-C. You saw it? So he's booting up the internal computer by STBS. And STBS stands for scanning the brain surfaces. Assuming that he's got a brain inside, he's scanning the brain surfaces, not only the right side but his left side also. Right side and left side. So, Butic, you boot up your internal computer, which is the greatest God-given computer that you can have, plus you scan the brain surface. So, now he's ready for learning. Are you?
Yes.
Okay, thanks a lot. Right. I don't know whether any of you have read, I think one person has read Tony Busan's book, isn't it? Somebody has read. Tony Busan has become a favorite author of mine, especially after I went through his book with reference to mind map. Any of you have heard of this mind map concept before this module? No. Mind map is a fantastic concept for learning, for revising, for presentation, for brainstorming, for teaching. I found it very, very effective. And what is a mind map? A mind map, centrally you put the key topic which you have found, and you make it image and words, not just vocabulary. It could be a little diagram if you can draw. And there are lines and circles from this central key figure. We'll show it to you. Words, diagrams, figures, colors. And you put an associate, say from 1 to 2, if there is an association, you put a line there. and it is absolutely innovative, creative, plus logical, which means the whole brain is active. Usually, you know, people into research, your EBM is so strong that only your left side is functioning. Absolutely logical. 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, it goes logical like that. Anything beyond that left side of brain is all stuck over there. From your nursery days, it's been getting inhibited. So what do you do about the right side? Can you become a little more creative in your learning, teaching, presentation? So that the whole brain is functioning. When you are singing, what happens? Yes, your whole brain, there are some words which is logical, linguistic, and there's something musical, your music center. So these are something. So mind map is something where the whole brain, and this has been proved scientifically, so that when you do something like a mind map, your whole brain is functioning, which has been documented. So it's a fantastic tool, and Tony Busan is a fantastic trainer. I've only read his books, but the other day I met somebody in Singapore who said Tony Busan had come down for a training program of theirs. I was so interested. I said, I've only read his books, and he's supposed to be a fantastic trainer. So you also, when you are learning, revising, training, see whether you can use this mind map. What you write in 5 different pages, you can put it in one simple diagram. Next one. Next we talked of Tony Busan and whole brain development. Now we are going to have an activity. Please don't take time to fill it up. It is something that you've got to do quickly. We'll give you 5 minutes for it. Yes, it's yours. You have to score it, fill it up, total the score, and you don't have to tell anybody what your intelligence is like. Even if everything is 0 also, it's fine as far as I am concerned. If everything is 10 also, it's fine. And if there are any faculty who would like to do it also, please go ahead and do it. We'll give you 5 minutes for this. And don't think so much about it. Quickly do it based on your intuitive responses. Okay, fine. Now, did you realize that you yourself have got multiple intelligences? Yes or no? Yes. And when you look at your children, you realize they too have multiple intelligences, isn't it? So let's look at, it's Howard Gardner who started off this multiple intelligence. Previously people were stuck, you know, on the left side of the brain with your logical and linguistic intelligence. 100 out of 100 for mathematics, 99 out of 100 for English. Fine, he's an intelligent bloke. That's the end of it. You go for work in a multinational company, he can't get along with people, he fights with everybody, and finished with all his grading. So let's look at what multiple intelligences are. You have the classical intelligence, which is your logical and your linguistic. All of you are endowed with lots and lots of that. Next. EI is for emotional intelligence, and Daniel Goleman, I'll show you one of his books. He is the one who propounded this emotional intelligence. And if you have to recruit somebody in your team for a research project, whom would you prefer? Somebody with a lot of classical intelligence with no emotional intelligence, or somebody with lots of emotional intelligence? Whom will you recruit? Huh? A combination of the two. Fine. Right. I think that's a better answer than just emotional intelligence. He has to have something, you know, in terms of thinking logically, isn't it? Right. Next. And PK is what? Physical and kinesthetic. All athletics. Anybody in athletics? Games? Oh, right. Good. Right. So your physical kinesthetic intelligence is greater than probably some of the others. Next one. MI is musical intelligence. Anybody plays an instrument here? Yes? What do you play? Guitar. You? Veena. You? Harmonium. Guitar. Sitar. Guitar. And I play a little bit of keyboard also. So we sort of have got a very good orchestra here, isn't it? Right. Okay. Next. IPR is interpersonal relationship. It's part of your social skills, part of emotional, it's all a little. SPL is Spatial intelligence, chess players, ballet dancers, right? Okay. ENI, environment, right? Creative and spiritual intelligence. Previously, you know, religiosity was associated with spiritual intelligence, but now it's absolutely different. You can be spiritually intelligent not being religious. You can be religious plus spiritually intelligent. So the two are different. So what is spiritual intelligence? Yes? Most of these things, not really. In bioethics, it's very relevant. Spiritually intelligent means you, which one? Imagination with metaphysics. That would probably come under creative intelligence, imagination. Spiritually intelligent, very important in bioethics. Your core values, understanding yourself, your values, your honesty, your truthfulness. Is that important in bioethics? So that may be related to whatever religious beliefs you have, but it need not be related to any religious beliefs. Say for example, if you take Krishnamurti, I don't think he was a religious person, but he was a highly spiritual person in my view. So like that, so these are the different types. And what was your rating? I don't want to know the answer, but does it make you aware that you are also a multiply intelligent person with different abilities here and there? And who was the person the world has seen who had a fantastic combination, maybe a 10 out of 10 score in all the different fields? Huh? Leonardo da Vinci, right. We only know him for his Mona Lisa painting, but he was a fantastic person, and he was one of the most handsome fellows there, and he was also a bastard. Did you know that? Right. Huh? Yes, but he was innocent about it, agreed.
But he was also an imbecile. Oh, homosexual.
Right. Does it make him any less intelligent? Anyway. So you have your multiple intelligence score and an awareness. Now here you have a small activity. See whether you can create a small mind map. I'll give you say 5 minutes, do it individually. Based on say Sri Kumari's session, can you revise and make a small mind map based on what you have understood about mind map? Central circle, you put whatever topic you want to put, and then from that you put lines or diagrams or colors or little jokes or whatever you want to make it as creative and innovative as possible. Okay, now this is a game. Can I have a volunteer please? I am going to give her this red bag. These are all nothing poisonous, anything can be eaten. And she is going to open up this bag and trying to identify them. Okay. Okay. See whether you can identify the maximum number of things there.
Toffee.
Chocolate.
Medicine. Tablets.
Tablet. Now no comments please, absolute silence.
I am honest.
Huh?
Ma'am, what is this? Something in
Okay. Okay, right.
something in a
Okay, something in a packet.
It looks like a chocolate.
Chocolate, okay.
This is Alpenliebe, I suppose.
Okay.
And another topping. Yeah, some piece of bark of a tree.
Bark of a tree, okay. Now let's stop here.
Okay.
Yes. Now since these two are volunteers, there are 2 chocolates, we will just go for these 2, right? It's a Milky Bar. Yes. Okay, now see what you were identifying.
When did this
No,
come
no,
in
no,
my
that
mind?
is different.
Yeah, tablets. Okay. Okay, this was garlic.
Huh? My God, you don't do any cooking, huh? You agree this is garlic? Huh? Do you ever get into the kitchen? Is that garlic?
Then what?
Then what?
Onion. Okay, small onion.
Okay, small onion, right,
We don't
agreed.
get this in North India, ma'am.
Oh, right, that's right. Sorry, that's because of that. Okay, then
Okay, bark of a tree.
you think it's bark of a tree?
What, cinnamon?
You think it's bark? Cinnamon. Yes, it's bark of a tree. So did you smell it?
No.
No, right. I didn't ask
the
you,
bark, right?
I didn't tell you not to smell it. I didn't tell you, I told you all were eatables, you can eat and find out. Right? Okay. Now the next one. Thanks a lot. So you get a little chocolate for that. Okay. Now this is a game. A game is not just for making fun of her or giving her chocolates. What's the purpose behind it? To? Learning what? Right. So next we come to that. Okay. Now here again, this is a lovely book on the 7 principles of learning, Da Vincian principles of learning. The author is somebody else, I forget. And because Da Vinci was a genius, he's picked up all Da Vincian's principles of learning. And Da Vincian principles of learning, which is the principle which was applied here. Did it occur? Did she do it?
No, it does. Uncertainty.
Huh?
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty, yes. She was not certain. Absolutely right. There was uncertainty. And because she was uncertain, she was curious. So she was trying to feel it. Which sense? Feeling of? Touch. But what are the other senses which she could have used? Smelling. Tasting. I usually put a areca nut also, you can shake it. Actually, there was a little bit of nutmeg also there which you can smell. Anyway, so there was uncertainty, and synthesia means what? Yes? What inputs? So all the senses you use for your learning. Is it important to use all your senses? The problem is when you are kids, you use all your senses. As you grow up, especially if you get into higher studies, PhD, MD and all that, you forget all these things, and you forget how to use your senses, a nice sense of smell, synthesia. So synthesia is important for learning. And so this is given in your thing, interconnectedness. You need to connect, isn't it? She was connecting with the other person. So all these are important. These are the 7 principles of Da Vinci. And these are absolutely important for learning. So unless you're curious. CPD is continuing personal or professional development. That comes out of another C, which is curiosity. Anything which is not understood. Learning is again grace, ambidextrity. What is ambidextrity? Yes, and do you know this Da Vinci, Michelangelo, they used to paint with, yes, with both. Right on top of that Sistine Chapel, all those paintings and all that, they do with both their hands. So this gives you a general idea of the main principles of learning. This will apply to your parenting also when you are bringing up your grandkids, or my stage, once in a while I get my grandchild, try to apply this. So this is important. Right from birth, these things are important for the learning process. And as he asked, when does learning start? In utero, correct, absolutely right. In utero, and when does it end? Yes, till your last breath. Your last breath is also a learning experience which none of us have learnt it as yet. And last breath is inspiration or expiration?
Letting go, I guess.
So it is expiration. And your first breath is? Inspiration, the last breath. So we haven't experienced the last breath as yet. So that last breath learning is still there for us to learn, leave alone all the. Okay, now this is the various teaching learning methods. It's given in your module. I'm not going into the details of all that. We are just going to demonstrate a few of them. And before that, if you need to teach and learn, you need to read. Somebody said reading most important thing for among the R's, which means anybody knows your reading speed, words per minute, how many can you read? Average, you know? How much? How much is? 360. Okay, right. You keep that. Huh? Now the next exercise is, we are going to give you a sheet. When the buzzer goes, you start reading it. When the buzzer goes, again the second time, you mark. And don't do any rapid reading or skill reading or whatever. Just read in your ordinary speed. And when the buzzer starts, you start off the reading. Yes, you have to read it, start reading it when the buzzer goes. Till then, don't start reading it. Don't read now. Please start reading it. Okay, the buzzer is going and now you start reading it. But don't do any gimmicks and try to read slowly or fast or anything like that. And you need to read for comprehension. Okay, the buzzer goes now. Okay, stop and mark up to what you have read. And now divide it by 2. Multiply it by 10, divide by 2, which is the time. Time is 2 minutes. And on an average, the number of words in each line is approximately 10. See, yes, how many lines did you get? Multiplied by 10, 10. Because the approximate number of words per line is 10, and divided by 2 because the time was 2 minutes. That will give you words per minute. Right? Is that clear up to that? Don't show it to anybody. It is your own personal reading speed. Words, it's called WPM, words per minute. You don't show it to anybody, but keep it as a baseline. And now we'll go into the comprehension part. The comprehension part has got a few questions. Without looking into the text, right? I mean, you assume that you are ethical and not going to look into the text. What did the author's friend want from him? Just one word answer. What did the author's friend want from him? Don't look into the text. Yes, write it, write it. Anywhere. Or in your head. Second question, what did the author recommend his friend to cut out? Third question, the author joined in the exercise, true or false? True or false? What symptom did they suffer from? One symptom is enough. What one symptom did they suffer from? They suffered more than one, but write one. What one change occurred in the author? What one change occurred in the author? And the last one, the caffeine challenge was offered to what type of company? The caffeine challenge was offered to what type of company? Now, I am not going to look into it. The correct answers will be, what did the author's friend want from him? Energy pill or a vitamin drink. What did the author recommend his friend to cut out? Sugar and caffeine, right, coffee. The author joined in the exercise? True. What one symptom did they suffer from? Headache. What one change occurred in the author? Yes, he became calmer, he started writing articles. The caffeine challenge was offered to what type of company? Oil. Yes, oil company. Right. Where? Where? In the North Sea. Right. Okay. So that is comprehension. So when you are reading something, you need to comprehend plus rapidly read. Now I am not going to ask anybody, how many of you got a reading speed above 250? 250. Above 400? No. Okay. Right. Now if 250 is your average speed now, see whether you can improve it. And how are you going to do it? There are some books and exercises like this. This is one book I picked up, but actually Tony Busan also has written a book on rapid reading. And I think if you're going to be research workers and you're going to be promoted, you're going to be administrators, managers, do you need to enhance your reading speed? Yes. Yes. But do we get any coaching anywhere under the sun? No. Except, see, like for example, when Kennedy became the president, he went into a school for 10 days or 2 weeks or something to enhance his reading speed. And he was in that generation one of the presidents who was the fastest reader, and I don't know what Bush's speeding read is. From what I sort of hear about it and looking at him, it doesn't seem to be very good, you know. I mean, that's besides the point. He doesn't look smart enough to have a very high reading speed. Anyway, the fastest reading speed is by, I forget the name, read War and Peace. Any of you read the book? Yes. Yes. War and Peace in 20 minutes. Can you believe it? Okay. So this particular exercise, I can give the other two. And now, Ram, I'll give you a little notice. We are giving you 2 handouts. So this is, it shows, one shows how you calculate the words per minute, and there is a scoring sheet. So if you do some exercises and try to enhance your speed of reading, those who read storybooks read faster than others, isn't it? Why? Now I gave Ram a short exercise. You all go around, we asked for a book review. How do you choose a book? So Ram is going to tell you, I gave him a book to browse and preview in 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and he will tell you something about the book in 1 minute. So the idea is, you get into a library, you get into a bookshop. How do you choose a book? Does somebody tell you read that book and you read it? Then how do you go about? Yes, so that type of reading, we've given you 2 handouts. Yes, Ram, please go ahead.
Yep. Morning. Ma'am gave me this book yesterday and asked me to go through it, kind of preview this and
yes.
Give my take on it. Book is titled Who Will Cry When I Die, authored by Robin Sharma. His previous books are, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, Mega Living, Leadership Wisdom from the Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. This Monk Who Sold the Ferrari, anybody has read it? Oh, very good. So many of you have read it. It's a fantastic book, isn't it? It was a first bestseller book for quite some time, you know. Those who haven't read it must read it. It's a fantastic book, you know. Right, okay. My first impression, this is all my impression, my take on the book. I finished, I went through at least 60% of the book last night. Well, the title seems absolutely morbid and fearsome, particularly in the aftermath of my recent and very reputable medical history. There is a bunch of authors creating a whole new genre that thinks that the big D word is something of a stirrup for action. If someone could imagine exit very vividly, even while living, they would rethink, reprioritize, and do things differently from what they are doing now. This art of retro living, though holding mass appeal, seems to take away the focus of motivation from where it should rightfully belong. Life's actions should stem from convictions and flow forth spontaneously from life itself, and not force-delivered or C-sectioned by thoughts of death. And also, I don't care how many cry when I die. I would like to have my very close friends who share my convictions, goals, and thoughts, and not necessarily my family to conduct my funeral if there was a need felt for that, and actually rejoice. They should celebrate the imprints of hope, compassion, service to fellow being, and sense of doing right for right's sake, come what may. The book very liberally dishes out 101 lessons that we can build into our lives to make it more experientially worthwhile. Some of them are quite invigorating and inspiring, drawing on quotes from the great masters. The likes of the tragedy of life is not death, but what we let die inside of us while we live. And in the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer. Buzz your thoughts to gain right perspective. Whatever said and done, I think that many of these are practical only within certain operational limits or paradigm, beyond which, exactly like Newtonian physics, failing in submicroscopic universe, the center does not hold. All things considered, it's a good book that talks good and sounds good, but stops somewhere along the way from becoming a great book. That's my take. Thank you.
Okay. Now you've got the other two sheets. This one, this is for you to, I mean, it's your own CPD. Somebody asked what CPD is. CPD is continuing personal or professional development. So this is for that. Your average speed reading right now, WPM, is this. Can you enhance it? It's up to you to decide and see whether over a period of say 3 months or 6 months you can enhance it. It's absolutely mandatory that as you move up in your career, your WPM should keep increasing. Otherwise, somewhere along the line, there will be stagnation, and you know, somebody is going to push you out or something might happen. So that is one. The next one is an example of a mind map with reference to. So this particular author also has been hooked on to Tony Buzan, and a lot of the current books nowadays on this type of books, they talk of mind map, and they always create, and this particular mind map is from this book. And here, Teach Yourself Speed Reading. This reading 5-step system, what Ram has just done is a preview. And a preview, you look at the book, the heading, what the Sri, like I bought this book personally because I had read this, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and I was so impressed with it. And as he said, you know, this was rather disappointing. So when you buy a book of the same author, sometimes it may not be as good, you know. So these 5 steps of reading, and this is for you to go through. And if you see, for example, there is a little diagram of about a teacup also here, so which means you are trying to stimulate the right side and the left side of the brain. And this mind map is thought to mimic the brain. See, when you write these sort of columns here, whether it's circular or rectangular, these are supposed to mimic the neurons in the brain. And you have right side, left side. So these neurons are being connected. All these lines mimic the dendrites, which means when does learning occur? With reference to neurons and dendrites? Right. When these dendrites starts connecting. And the number of dendrites are how many? Millions and billions. So which means there is so much of dendritic connections left in our brain. So learning, how much are you using? Maybe 8 to 10%. All the remaining dendrites are all unconnected. So that is why this mind map, they say it mimics a brain, it mimics the neurons in the dendrites, and so learning becomes much faster. It's more enhanced, it's more effective, and it becomes more efficient. So this is just to give you, and in between, it's good to relax. Don't go on reading for 3 hours without a break. That's why it talks of relaxation. And maybe not coffee always, and maybe not a cigarette or alcohol, maybe something else. So that's just about something about speed reading.